Hello, 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 Facebook land and YouTube. I am back here tonight. My name is Jabrina Speaks with another book talks and friends with my girl, my lady, my Dr. Sherrie Poitier. You guys come in, come in, come in. We are live tonight with the book talk. So go ahead, chime in, share. Let us know that you are watching. Let us know that you are watching. Again, tonight is the third round of the book talk with myself, Jabrina Speaks. This is the book talk with friends, tips, transparency, and truth. And tonight, I have my friend, my girl, Dr. Sherrie Poitier, on here with me on tonight. Good evening, Dr. P.
Good evening. Good evening. So good to be here. So good to see you.
That's good. That's good. Right. Because we haven't seen what Dr. P.
Girl, yeah, I've been on lockdown.
So we are super excited to have all of our authors, all of our inspiring authors to join us on tonight. As you know, God has given me a vision to bring my author friends on to have a conversation. So where there is people out here wanting to write a book or interested in writing a book or started to write their book and stopped, this is what this conversation is all about. So I ask that you join, I ask that you share, but we are about to get started with the books and birthing with myself, Jabrina Speaks, and the amazing Dr. Sherrie Poitier. So, Dr. P, how was your day on today?
Today was a good day, girl. We had a 3-day weekend, so it's always good to come back from a relaxing weekend. But yes, it was
Right.
pretty calm and good.
That's good. That's good. So, if you guys don't know, Dr. P is an amazing woman. She is a mother. She is a grandmother.
A queenie. I'm queenie.
A queen. A queen.
Queenie.
You said a
No,
queenie?
everybody uses grandma. I want to be different, so I'm
Okay, so what
queenie.
is it? Tell me what it
Yes,
is.
he's gonna call me Queenie. I'm gonna teach him to say Queenie.
So she's a queenie,
Yes.
but she is an amazing author of some children's books. So I'm so happy to have you on here with us. So Dr. B, tell us, because I know there's more than one, tell us about your books. Give us the title of your books that you have written.
So the name of my series is called The Adventures of Sherrie and Chubby. And I know a lot of people are probably like, where in the world did you get this Sherrie and Chubby from? So long story short, my mom wrote the books when I was younger. She wrote a book about me, and she kind of just wanted to teach kids about miracles. She wanted to give them a chance to look at a book and to see themselves in the character, because most of the books, of course, we read back then were books that had main characters that were not African American. So she tried to get the book published, but she couldn't. But now, in the age where you can self publish, I said, you know what? She passed away while I was in college, but I said that I was going to make sure that that dream, came to pass. So I published the first book, and everybody loved the book. The story was very endearing. People were just like, oh, they were so excited. And then they were like, okay, when's the next book coming? And I'm looking like, what next book? Oh, I got one book, one. And so they were like, no, when you wrote the word adventures, that was plural. So you have to come up with some more books. And
Okay.
so I said, you know what I would love to do is to bring the fun back to reading. Like, our kids sometimes don't enjoy reading because they have been tested so much that they, experience a lot of failure. They feel like they can't read. They don't want to read. Reading is too slow. It's like they don't relate to the characters. They don't relate to the story. So what I wanted to do is just bring the fun back to reading and kind of do like what Fat Albert does. He taught us to be good kids, but we didn't know that's what was going on. We thought we were just chilling with the crew. We hanging with the crew. So that's kind of what my books started out as character building. And
Mhm.
so now I've expanded it to a teenage life series to help our kids to get through difficult periods in their life.
Okay, so how many books is it?
So it's going to be a total of 25. So I've published 7 of them so far.
Mhm.
And another one, it should be finished hopefully by the end of this month. So that book is called Cooperation. It is the fourth installation in the series that's for the elementary kids. And then I have already published one of my life series because I've expanded to not just the character building but the life series. And then I have a teen series where I've published a prayer book to kind of, just teach kids about prayer, like having a relationship with God and being able to do that now. Like, I feel like a lot of times you know, we tell kids who Jesus is, they go to Sunday school, they might go to children's church, but do we ever like take the time to get them to build a relationship with God? And that's what I wanted them to do. So in the prayer book, it actually has like a prayer, a sample prayer. It gives you different issues that they face, like self-esteem or, dating or intimacy, like things like that. And then there is a mental health piece because, of course, I'm a family therapist. That's what my PhD is in. And so I have that in there, a sample prayer, and then I have lines so they can go in and they can start writing their own prayers. And I know most of the time people say, oh, well, I don't pray writing, I pray out loud. And I'm like, yeah, but I like to write so that I can go back later and see how much God has done, see what I'm still waiting on Him to do. I feel like it encourages you more when you actually can see where you've come from.
Gotcha. That's really good. So, really quick, thank you for Marie for joining us on tonight. Thank you, Tina, for joining us on tonight, and also Mika. Thank you guys for joining us on tonight. So, if you just chimed in, I have the amazing Dr. Sherrie Poitier, an author of a series of books, and that's what we're discussing on tonight. So, you did mention I was getting ready to ask you the question, but you kind of answered it. Who and what inspired you to write your books?
Yeah, so like I said, it was my mom. That first book, I can't take credit for. Of course, that's the best one in the series. I can't even lie. Like people be like, "Ooh, that book was so good," and I'd be like, I'm trying, y'all. I'm trying." But yeah, so it inspired me because she wanted to, just put it out there, like how simple it is to form a relationship with God, to believe in miracles, and she wanted to show how childlike faith can do much more than we think it can do. And so that's how it got started. And I really just was doing it as homage to her. But then I realized that there are stories inside of me, like from my childhood, from the childhood of the kids that I've worked with, because I've been with Broward Schools for like 24 years. So I have kids who have stories, and I always look at them and can't believe some of the things that they go through. Like they go through adult situations, but they're just children. And so I wanted to let them know that there's a way that they can deal with all of that. That prayer is a coping skill. It is one of the strongest coping skills that we have. And the the idea that you could believe in what's best for you always coming to fruition if you believe and you do what you need to do is what I wanted to instill in kids while, teaching them other lessons like being cooperative, being tolerant. Like one of my books is about tolerance.
Mhm.
One of them is about honesty, about how people will love you for who you are if you're honest. And so that's what I kind of want to do. Just bring fun back to reading, teach kids about, prayer and relationship with God and just knowing their purpose and living it.
And you did that through children's books.
Yep, I did. Like I laugh. I wrote this last book, the one that just got published about attendance, because they're claiming that one of the reasons why they can't help a lot of the kids with reading comprehension and just wanting to engage in reading is because the kids aren't there. When the kid is absent, they can't prepare them. And
Mhm.
so it's a nationwide problem. And so somebody came to me and said, you know what? Can you write a book about attendance? Because we really need these kids to come to school.
Right.
And I was like, I think I could do that. And so I wrote the book, and what I did was focus on why it's important to come to school rather than warning kids, oh, your life is going to be horrible if you don't come to school. They already know that. And in some people's mind, they're not afraid. Like kids don't understand that one day they're going to have to fend for themselves. They think that mama and grandma and auntie and cousin going to be alive and pay all their bills and help them all their life. And so
And
they
you know what,
don't
I'm
get
going to say
that.
this, and some of them are already fending for themselves.
Yep. Yep.
So if they are already fending for themselves, then they feel like, okay, if I'm already doing it now,
Hmm.
I, I don't need to prepare for anything because
Mm-mm. I don't need to go to school. I don't need this. I don't need that. And they don't understand how many opportunities that they're closing themselves off to because of that. And so what I did was I told a story about how Sherry's dog is lonely because he can't go to school. And I showed them what the benefits are of going to school. So it's like I'm telling them you should go to school without saying you should go to school. Because
right.
you already know how that works with kids. You tell
No,
them to do A
no,
and they're
no,
gonna
no,
do
not
B.
kids. That's how it works with humans.
Yes.
Tell them what to do when they tell you, no, they got to figure out their own way.
Yes. And so what I did was I showed them how people who need stuff or want stuff go about doing it without saying, this is what I need you to do. And so at the end, it kind of shows how it comes together that people who didn't really want to go to school realize, wow, man, what else would I be doing if I'm not in school? Like, what is this, what is there to do all day? Like, yeah, you can watch TV, but all day, like, I don't know.
So, next question. How long did it take you to? Well, I know you said mom had kind of wrote the first book. You just wind up publishing it. But even with that process, and then after that, you writing your own, how long did it take you to get your first or your first or second book done? Because I know the first
Yes.
one was kind of ready, but you had to go through the full process about the second one. So, how long does it take you?
Yeah, so that is a funny story because what happened was, of course, the hurricane destroyed all of the stuff that I had from my mom, Hurricane Wilma. So I actually had to start from scratch, just trying to remember the book and what was in it, and the cute parts. The thing is, she told it to me 100 times, so I kind of memorized a lot of it. So it took me like a summer to like get that back and up, and then I had it edited and proofread. And then the first company I used was very expensive, so it was like a payment plan where you paid certain amounts until you paid it off. I think it cost me like $3,700. So I work for Broward Schools, so you already know how long that. It took me a month to get the first one published. And then what I was doing is every day I was staying up all night and I was just writing. And I was writing. It was like God was like downloading stuff into me, and I couldn't go to sleep until I got it all out. So I published the first book. It might have took me maybe about 7 or 8 months to pay it all off. And then the rest of the books, I've written them all pretty much except for maybe about 5 of them. All the rest of them are already written. I've already had them edited, proofread. So now I'm just getting the money to actually publish it. What takes the longest, to be honest, is the illustrations because I'm very peculiar. I like really want my brand to be something that a kid could see across the room and know that those are my books. So they're like unusually square instead of rectangle. Like they have a lot of things that make them stand out. And so the illustrator that I had, this is my third one right now because um yeah, the process is, I don't know what to say. I think it's more because my books are something that God is using me to help kids to, pray and understand. So I think I go through more stuff than the normal person. Like you and I probably could go at the same time, and you probably would get it done in a week, and it'll be like 2 months because everything that could go wrong will go wrong.
But
And
it's
the
a learning
enemy hasn't learned that I don't play that. Like I'm gonna finish. If he
right.
has put it in me, that means I can do it. So whatever I got to do it, if I got to work extra jobs, girl, I be picking up every supplement they have. I'm like, I'm gonna publish these books. And
But
so
see, that's when you know that he has given you what you need to do, and you are not allowing anything to come up against it. The rain could be coming, the hurricane could be coming, the fire could be burning,
yep.
but you are determined to get something done. You're gonna start what you finish, and a lot of times we don't start. I mean, we don't finish what we start. We'll
Mm-hmm.
start something, but then when those obstacles come up against us, then we want to back away. So that's good that you're saying that, because it does show people that though it looks like it was easy once you got the finished product, but this is what tonight is all about: being transparent about what you go through when you are publishing a book. It is not just like the easy bake oven where you mix the water and you put it in there and it come out and it tastes good. It is like baking the
Mm-hmm.
real cake. Well, you have to crack the egg and you have to add this and you have to do that. Then you have to beat it and whip it all up, and then it has to go through the heat and the fire. But then when you taste it, it tastes amazing. And that's how it is when you're doing any project. When you see the finishing of it, when you finally get, like, you know how you look at the cake being baked and you look in the glass little window part of the stove and you
Yeah.
see it rising. That's the feeling that you get when you get that first email with your book cover. It's like, oh my,
Yeah.
coming together. But then when you actually get the book, that's the timer of the cake being done. Ding! And it's
Yep.
like, your book is done, your finished product is there. So I'm glad that you are sharing that on tonight, because everybody's walk through this becoming an author is not the same walk, and
Mm-mm.
it may get hard. So I'm glad that you shared that on tonight. So my next question, and you kind of answered that, but I don't know, moving forward, what have you done? Did you self-publish after that? I know you say you went to a publishing company in the
Mhm.
beginning. Are you still going through a publishing company now, or have you
Um,
started to publish?
yeah, so self-publishing just means you pay for it,
Hmm.
basically. So what happened is the first company I used, they were very professional. They were really great. Like you basically told them what you wanted, turned it over, and then that was it. You didn't do anything else. But again, it was going to take me a year or two to get a book out every time. And children, they can't wait a whole year to see your character again. That time length will make them forget about the character, how much they love the character. So I prayed and I was like, God, I need somebody more reasonable that I can work with. And those people, they weren't even from here. I think they're like in Canada somewhere. And it's like I prayed that prayer maybe like today, and like in a week, I was working, and Antonio Burgess, he works with me. Well, at that time, he was working at the site I was at, and he told me about Ballard Publishing, and I was like, "Oh, okay." He was like, "Yeah, they're local, they're really good. You should
What's the
try them."
publishing company? I'm
And
sorry.
Ballard Publishing,
Ballard.
Stephanie Evans, yeah, Ballard.
Okay.
Yeah, so so I reached out, started talking. They were just getting up and running. They even had a special, like the first 10 people got money off. So I was like, oh good, this is somebody I could grow with. Like we're kind of like learning the business together. And so that's who I publish with now. They put everything together. I just write it. Look, I just write and say, here, this is what I want, and then they go in and they make it beautiful. I use the illustrator that she uses. He's actually from India, so we communicate through WhatsApp, and I just kind of work with them. It's a lot more hands-on that I have to do, but I like it because I'm learning more about the business, and I'm hoping that one day that I will have my own publishing company, maybe. Um, right now, I don't have time for that, so yeah, I'm sticking with what I have, and I'm very happy with what I have right now. But they get the books out a lot sooner. It's less expensive, and I have a lot more creative, like, reign in what goes on with it.
Okay, well that's good to know. And they are local.
Yes, she's actually, I think she works for the school board too, or a charter, something like that.
Mhm.
And yeah, she's one of those deltas that I always tease her all the time because you know they'll so rise they stick close, man. Like I'll go and I'll say hi to one, and they'll be like, "You, I proofread your book," and I'm like, "Okay." Like they stick
Because you have to make
together,
sure
they work together, and yeah,
right.
she is local and she doesn't mind. What I like too is because she's the one responsible for putting it all in and pushing it through. That when she sells books, she puts my books on her table too, because they're published through her company. So she's letting people see what she can do, and it's selling my books too. So I'm like, hey, that works for me too. I really
A 2 for 1.
like the professionalism of the company.
That's good to know. That's good to know. So, what were some of the challenges you faced while writing your book?
Oh, Lord Jesus. So, yeah, so the illustrators, girl, these art people, I don't know. And it could just be my experience. I'm not going to say all of them, but I'm just going to say that it has taken me some time to get with them because when they're on, they're on. But when they kind of are like going through, I don't know if they're extra sensitive because of their art or because of,
In the
their
word of
creative
Badu,
juices.
I'm an
Huh?
artist and I'm sensitive about my.
Yes. And so, girl, they be like, I can't work right now. I'm like, excuse me.
Uh,
I've had an illustrator disappear. He was from Jamaica, and girl, he was working on my stuff, and the next thing I know, he just no communication, just gone. So now I got to find somebody else, and it's not easy to get somebody to duplicate what somebody else drew because your eye is not the same, and
mhm.
so their talents are different, and my pictures are more graphic. They're not like as um artsy as some other stuff. And so I was very, like it has to be the exact same. I cannot have one book look this way and then the characters look different in another book. Like I'm like, no. So I'm like, I had to be really picky about who could continue the work. And so that to me was my biggest thing. Like even working with different companies, like it's not that, it's the illustrations. Like those things cost the most, they hold up the thing the most, and then it's also a culture thing. Like some of the things in my book I'm very particular about because my mom started it. So there are certain things I know if she was here she would kill me if I allowed. So I'm like, no, we can't do that. So like one of the illustrators I had, he kind of mixes all these colors together. And I'm like, baby, no. It's like I would never dress with 4 and 5 colors. And the little girl, of course, is me. So I'm like, no, please. My mama probably cursing right now. Can you please put me in? Just one shirt color, one pants color. Let the socks match. Like, just like certain things that I kind of was like, okay, I want it to be this way, that way. And so I kind of have to go back and forth because in some cultures, like the color and all that is like really like their thing. And it's kind of like, no, no, I love you. I love your work, but I don't want all of that. So
Right.
that kind of is the thing I think that gets the most. Because even with the money, I be looking at the amount, I be like, oh, Jesus. And then the Lord always provide though. Every time it's time for me to pay, I look at my account, and if she say I need $1,000, it'll be $1,001, and I'll be like, okay. It
Amen.
always comes. Like I don't walk to my post office box and opened it and was like, I don't know where I'm gonna get this next payment. And it was $1,000 check in there. I was like, oh
Wow.
Jesus, hallelujah. And I went right and paid it. So the illustrations most definitely is the thing for me. Because in children's books, those are very important. That's how you draw the kid into the story is through the illustrations.
Gotcha, gotcha. Well, again, we are on tonight with the Books and Birthing with myself, Jabrina Speaks, and the amazing Dr. Sherrie Poitier. She's an author of a series of books, and she is just giving us some tips, transparency, and truth of how she got her books done. So, my next question for you, Dr. P, is do you hear from your readers? Have you heard from your readers? Um, any reviews from your book?
Not formal ones per se, and I know that that's a thing that I probably need to work on because a lot of times people will see a book and not really want to get it because they don't see the reviews. But as far as like seeing people, like some amazing stuff has happened. Like I'll be walking down the street and somebody will come and say, "Oh, Miss, you the Sherrie and Chubby lady, right?" And then I'll laugh. I had kids come run up to me and hug me because they really love the story and their teacher read it to them. Or I have like the other day I was on was it on Twitter? And I very rarely go on Twitter, but I just happened to be on there and I saw this lady who had bought my attendance book and she only bought it because she's an attendance clerk. And she was like, "Oh my God, when you love your job so much that you would buy a book just to see what it say about it." And I
Wow.
thought that was so cool. I was like, "Oh, that was like really awesome." So, and she kind of like went on there and said she loved the book. I've had people tell me how their kids wouldn't read at all, and like now they're reading. So I've had like a lot of personal, reviews, not really that many on Amazon because my books are on there, but definitely have made an impact. I would like to make a larger impact, but then there's not a way for me to get all the feedback that people have. So I'm sure there's stories out there that I just don't know about, but I have definitely had some good reviews.
That's good. That's good. My next question for you is how focused do you need to be when writing a book?
So I'm gonna be honest, the best books I think flow from within you when you are just willing to allow it to happen. Like sometimes we try to force the writing. Like I ain't gonna lie, like I feel like I've been lazy, so I'll try to make myself sit down and write, and it comes out, but not when I know the Lord be like, "Okay, right now," and then I'll go and I'll sit down and I could stay up for hours and just write. And then I'll go back and read the stuff and I'll be like, okay, I know that's the Lord because I wrote that. Like I don't even remember writing it. But you have to allow the Lord to pick the time to write. Like, yeah, you should be disciplined. You should, make sure that you're writing. But
Mhm.
writing is more about flowing. And when you force yourself to flow, I feel like you stunt the creativity, and you also, to me, the message won't be on point. It has to be at the time where, okay, if this is what the Lord has for you to do, He's gonna pour it into you. But when He pour it, you got to be willing to sit down then, and you gotta like, you can't be like, oh, well, I gotta go to do this. No, 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 no. If this is the Lord's time, you gotta be willing to sit down then, and that's when you discipline yourself to just put out whatever he gives. Like now I even start dictating so that I don't forget the stuff that I want to write. Like I'll think of something, like right now I might be sitting here while we talking and something might come to me and I'll be like, oh. And so I'm old school. I still handwrite, which I know is such a waste of time, but that's just me. Like I flow better when I pen it. And
Mhm.
so then now, if I get something and I'm sitting here, I'll push click and I'll just start talking into the computer so that it'll write out what I'm saying. Of course, half the stuff is not what I said, but it still gives me a chance to, to like get it down on paper. So then I could come back and then I can tweak it and, make it what I want it to be.
Gotcha, gotcha. My next question for you is because again, we have people that are watching that are in the process of writing, um, thinking about writing, have wrote and have stopped there, like wrote it all out, stopped there.
Mm.
So, do you have any tips to help someone that wants to become that author?
So what I am gonna say is that when you have made up your mind that you have a story to tell, Now it is incumbent upon you to deliver it, because most of the time that notion is not from you. That is something that God is asking you to do, and you have to believe that that's what he has for you to do, and you need to walk in it. I don't care what comes against you, because there are going to be times where you feel like you can't pay for it, you can't afford it, you can't this, you can't that, and you can't let any of that stuff stop you. You have to just make the faith walk toward it, and the Lord gonna provide whatever it needs to. Like, I had someone that I worked with, and she was like, "Oh, I want to publish, but I don't know." And she kept giving me these excuses. And I just looked her in her face and I said, "So, what I'm going to say is that if there was somebody who was dealing with cancer right now, who was on the verge of suicide,
Mhm.
and read your book, would they change their mind?" And she said, "Yes." I said, so my thing to you is, are you going to allow the person to die?" And she looked at me like I was crazy. And I was like, "No, because that's exactly what you're doing. The Lord is trying to use you to save lives, because there are people out there who, when they get terminal illnesses, they feel like death is tomorrow. And I'm like, no, it's not. And sometimes you go through those things so that you can be a testimony to give other people faith. So I feel like you went through that at a young age, because God wanted to show how you recover and how your life has changed since then. So now it's up to you. There's no reason why you can't do it. You've already written the book. Okay, take it to somebody. So I gave her a number. She took it to the person. She got halfway through and she was short like $200. And she was like, "I can't do it." And she called. She was like, "What do you think I should do?" I said, hold on. And I paid the $200 and I told her to keep it moving. And then she was like, "Why? Why?" No, no, why? That's my investment in what you're doing. And that
So
is
much
my investment, that I could be like, "Lord, you see how I did that?"
because you
That's
sold seeds.
because, yes, I was like, I am sowing because I know what this book gonna do, and I'm not gonna let the enemy trick you into thinking that you can't do it. Everybody had hard spots, and the Lord give me extra because He know I'm gonna give it away. So I just give it away, and then I'll be like, "Okay, Lord, I'm gonna need them 200," because I was publishing my own book at the time, but I gave her my payment because I was
Right.
just like, you know what? That's what we have to do for each other. We have to support each other, especially in things like this, because it is so like important for us to get out there and tell these stories that God gives us, because that's how we help each other to overcome. So I'm like, you have to just know that you supposed to do it. Know that he has to provide a way. Cause I tell people all the time, you know how I know I'm always have some money? Because I go to work and I pay my time. That's the two things he told me I had to do to get paid. So I be like, "Lord, I know you know my rent due. I ain't got no money." So I'll be like, "I don't know what you're gonna do, but something got to happen because I done did the two things you required." So that's what I tell people. If
On
you know
pay.
what you're supposed to do, and this story is meant for you to tell, the Lord gonna open the door. So you just gotta walk through it.
Amen, amen, and amen. If they didn't get anything else out of tonight, they should have got that in the end. That it doesn't matter what comes up against you, you have to tell your story because it will save a life. And
Yep.
that was really good. That was really good, Dr. B. Do you have anything else you want to add in, Dr. B? You have anything else you want to add in?
I do want to say that I know that sometimes people kind of leery of getting people to work with them or to help them, because they're like, "Oh, why I got to do this? Why I got to do that?" I'm going to tell you that there is nothing like having a known support, like somebody you can go to when you feeling stuck. Like, I know people talk about writer's block and all that. That ain't, there's no such thing as writer's block. What there is that the spirit is flowing and then the spirit is not. And if it's not, there's something blocking it. And that's what you have to figure out, what's blocking it. And that's why it's always good to have somebody that's on the journey with you. Like, some people call them accountability partners. There are people out there now who have written books and they can coach you through the process. They can help you with the process. It's nothing wrong with getting help to go through it, because there are a lot of pitfalls that could cause you to kind of get discouraged if you are going through it alone and you run into them. So I would say not to take the journey alone. Like have somebody you know that's gonna hold you accountable. I don't mean a yes man. They be like, girl, it's not right if you ain't did
No.
that. If you ain't. No, I mean somebody that's gonna be like, girl, now you know better. Now you know better. You know you can do that. You know you have done that. You know you've been through way worse. Like somebody who gonna tell you the truth and help
Mhm.
you move forward. And so that's the thing I would leave with you. Like, don't try to do the journey alone, because it's doable, but it's so much better, and it helps you to avoid pitfalls when you kind of like get somebody to do it with you.
Gotcha. And you know what? That's really good because besides writing a book and having an accountability partner, you just need that partner in your life anyway.
Mhm.
Like you said, not a yes man, but somebody to tell you when you're wrong, and then somebody to cheer you on when you are right. But it's
Yep.
even better while you are accomplishing goals in life when you have somebody like that around. So that was really good to what you said. Dr. P, by chance, do you have your book nearby? Do you have your book, one of your books
Um.
nearby?
Yeah, girl. Look, I don't roll without it. Look, look.
Just so people can kind of see your book.
Yes,
Again, I
I
took
got
you
the
guys.
first three in here. Look, I'm in my little grandson room.
Okay.
I'm, so these are his books that he can't read yet, but he will when he can. So this
Right.
is book one. This is where you kind of get introduced to Sherrie, and this is the one that my mom wrote. I can't take credit for it. I just take credit for publishing it. I paid to get it published, but it was her idea and her thoughts and her love for me. And so this is book two, and this is the one about tolerance. It's about a bunch of kids who other kids won't play with because they're all different, and so
Mhm.
they become a crew together because that's what makes them strong is being able to work together with their differences. And then this is book three. This is the book about honesty.
Open the book. Can we see a little bit of the inside of the book, like one of your illustrations, like something?
Oh yeah, so that's probably the best. Look, that's one of the best parts of the book. I ain't gonna lie. My illustrations are really, really nice. That's one thing I can say that each page has an illustration because I wanted the kids to try to figure out what's going on from the picture, but still have to read the book to understand everything. So
Right.
let me move over. So that's actually, and all of the characters are actually my former students or my
Mhm.
deceased family members. Like they're
Okay.
all people that I know. So the pictures actually look exactly like the person because what I do is I send pictures of them, and the characters are actually formed after the personality of the person. So like
Yeah.
Lonnie, that's one of my jealous babies. Like he don't want anybody to talk to me. He don't want nobody to hang with Sherrie. He don't want none of that. So that's what he does in the books. He always like, why you always picking up new friends? And I'm like, Lonnie, like we all gonna be friends. No, no, I don't want that. So they're
Wait, and we,
all just
and we
them.
have some adults like that too.
Girl, yes, we do. And so my books also have audio books. So you
Okay.
can go on Amazon and there's a sample so you can listen. The narrator is amazing. Like he was one of my former students, and when I say he's like the worship leader at the Light Center, and when I say voice of the gods, girl, he
Wow.
reads the story, but we all voice our own characters. So like
Right.
Sherrie is me. You'll hear me talking like this because I'm trying to be a little girl. And so we voice our own characters. So you should see me and my former students. I have to bribe them with food so that they'll do it. They come and
Yes, ma'am.
they'll
Whatever
voice
works
over
to
and
make it work. So I do have somebody that's watching that have a question. That has a question.
okay.
It says, "Wait, can you answer this question first? I want to know how important reviews are. Are they or are they not? Reviews.
So they are very important for especially people to buy your book who don't know who you are. Like a lot of the books that I've sold, of course, are my former students because they have kids. But you want to appeal to people who see your name and don't know who the heck that is and not care because they've seen the reviews that people have written about how good it is. So it is important to do that. Those also help you because in order for you to be a bestseller, you have to sell so many books in a certain time period. So, like if your book goes um, on the internet today, within a certain amount of hours, you have to sell so many books. And the more reviews you have, is a higher chance that more people will buy your book because people they want to buy books, but I'm gonna be honest, it's kind of on the totem pole, kind of down toward the bottom when it comes to spending money. They don't want to spend money on that kind of stuff unless they kind of like I know a lot of people buy the prayer book because they be like, my child need all kind of prayer. So they're looking for things that are going to help and going to do stuff and answer questions, solve problems, but they need to know that you know what you're talking about. So that's why I put PhD on my book so that people know, okay, she must know a little something. She got some papers. So yeah, but the reviews are important. I'm not gonna say that you won't sell without them. I'm just saying they open the door for you to sell more.
So, Marie, I hope that answered your question. And just think about it. Most of us, when we order anything offline, we read reviews. I just ordered two things off of oh, somebody said my fifth grade teacher.
Oh, I know I don't look. Oh,
Well, that just told you.
yes, I can't go nowhere without seeing my baby.
But yeah, so just think about it like that, Marie. I know I'm really not big on online shopping and things like that, but anything that I order offline, I do check the reviews. Now, I've sold most of my books through my website. So on Amazon, it's not, people are not going back to write reviews from Amazon because they didn't buy it on Amazon. They actually bought it from me. But it does make sense when it comes to when people are purchasing online from a site that you may not be used to, but your book is there. It does look good for somebody to go and read a review. So I can back that question with just me with experience. If I know that I'm reading reviews on certain things, of course we want people to read the reviews about us. So Marie, I hope that helped you a little bit. I hope that helped you a little bit. Oh, she said thank you. So perfect. So that did help her. If anybody else has a question before we get off, you're more than welcome to drop it in the chat. Again, we have Dr. Sherrie Poitier on here. She is an author of a series of books, changing the lives of children. You have a coloring book, right?
Yeah, every book comes with a coloring book because I'm one of the people I color. Like I buy those jumbo books.
Let me
So
tell you something.
I ain't gonna
Coloring,
lie, girl. I be in here coloring like a
coloring, coloring soothes the mind. It's
it
the stress.
does. And you know what?
It's
It
a
brings
stress
out the
reliever.
creative juices too.
It
Like
does.
it
I am a
makes you
color.
feel like
I'm a color.
you
Yes.
yes,
I
girl. You
will
can't tell me
pull
that when I do my little stuff.
coloring book and I will color. So yeah.
Yes, girl. And so every book has a coloring book to go with it because it has the pictures from the story. So the kids get to color and make Sherrie look like they want her to look. They get to do stuff and be creative and just relax. Like sometimes we just all over the place. And when I feel like I'm like stressed out and I just want to pull my hair out, I'm like, no, I go and get my big jumbo coloring book. Girl, I got like a container of color pencils because
Wow.
they sharpen better. So girl, that's how sad it is. I got
So you have some of
color.
your parents on here. Marie said she was Jasmine.
Yeah, sober's counselor. Yeah, Jazz. Ah, yeah,
So yeah,
Jazz. That was my baby. That
right.
was my look. Everybody, my baby. I ain't gonna lie.
Hello, Miss Merchant. How are you? But yeah, so we have the amazing Dr. Sherrie Poitier. She is an author of many books, of many series that she has. And the first book title was what again?
The Adventures of Sherrie and Chubby, and they're all called The Adventures of Sherrie and Chubby. They
Okay.
just have something else after that, depending on the book they are. So, like, I even have a cookbook because my husband's a chef. So we kind of
Throw
collab
that
on the
out there. Free
cookbook.
promotion. Throw that out there about the husband. Go ahead.
Yes, he is a chef, girl. He is the jerkologist. If you can eat it, he could jerk it, baby. So yeah, so that book is The Adventures of Sherrie and Chubby cookbook. And so every book is called that because that's the brand, that's the book. And so I have the Sherrie and Chubby, the the books that are character building. Then I have the Sherrie and Chubby teen series, and then the Sherrie and Chubby life series. So it's three different things, but it's just helping our kids to just be able to live, man. This we going through a
especially
lot right now.
during this time.
Yes, girl.
Of course, with me having the mentoring program for girls, some of my girls were struggling, but just to have conversation with other parents regarding their children during this season of
Yeah.
COVID, and how they are trying to find outlets for them. So if there is a way, we have to make sure that we do it, because just like we are struggling from an adult standpoint,
Mhm.
our children are struggling, and they don't know how to articulate, they don't know how really to show that they're frustrated in certain things. So I'm glad that you've made these books, so then they can they'll have an outlet, they'll have another outlet.
Yeah, and I want to mention one more thing. So I got a grant from BSO to start my own writing academy. And basically what I want to do is I want to turn kids into wordsmiths. And so kids are like, what's a wordsmith? It's a skilled writer. Like everybody can write, but are you a skilled writer? Can you use a story to change somebody's life? And that's what I want to do for our kids. So I still have some seats in this academy, and basically I'm helping them to groom them to be good writers, and then I'm paying for them to publish a book. And so they'll be able to
Can
take
I
that book
join? What's the age?
13 because I'm trying to do it with middle school and high school kids this year to
Okay.
kind of, because that's what I'm look
Are
that's
you
what
are you
that's
how
what
old
I usually work with. So know I could do that. So my next year when I apply again, I might bring it down depending on how this works. But I do have some seats available. So if you have any kids out there
what
who
ages?
13 to 17,
I'm
as
7
long as they're still in high school.
I'm 17.
Look, hey, look, you can get BSO to agree with it. I don't care. I
So
just
she
want
said,
to I'm gonna buy a tent at the Miami Book Fair next year,
okay,
and those 3 days I'm gonna have them under the Poitier Wordsmith Academy tent, and they'll each have their own table to sell their own books. So not only am I teaching them how to write, but I'm teaching them how to brand themselves. They're gonna have their own little business cards so that people can buy their books. They'll have their own books online so that
that's
people can
really
buy
good.
ebooks, or they can have their books manufactured and sell them. But I just want kids to get their stories out there, because I believe that that's another thing that's going to help, change these kids' trajectory by them being able to tell their own stories and heal within.
That's really good, Dr. P. That's what's up. So if you have a child, if you know of a young person ages 13 to 17
Yep.
that is interested in writing a book, Dr. Sherrie Portier has an academy that will allow them to be up under her, to train up under her, a woman that is very knowledgeable about writing and publishing books, that they will be able to do that themselves. So get at her. Now, is it with the grant? It's free for them to join. Is it a cost?
Yep.
What is it?
Nope, there's no cost. The only thing, I haven't gotten all the funds to do the illustrations, but I've written 4 more grants, and I should have the money for that too as well. But right now it's free. They don't have to pay anything.
So this is a free program. So if you know anybody that knows a young person ages 13 to 17 that is interested in writing a book, before we leave on tonight, she's going to share how you can contact her and how you can get your child, or a child that you may know, in this program. I think it is amazing, because as she shared earlier, if you missed it, the cost sometimes can be very costly in writing a book, but she is giving these children an opportunity, excuse me, to get their book done. So again, I have Dr. Sherrie. I call her Dr. P. So I have
Dr.
Dr.
P, everybody call me Miss P, Dr. P, Auntie
I
P,
have
Queen
right.
P.
I have Dr. P, my co-worker and friend, my author friend, joining me tonight. at the Books and Birthing with myself, Jabrina Speaks. And it was tips, transparency, and truth. If you missed anything, you make sure you go back and you press the replay button because she gave some amazing nuggets on tonight. So, Dr. P, I have a few fun tips about you. I want to ask you just a few questions. Nothing hard, nothing bad.
Okay.
So, tea or coffee?
Tea.
Tea. Okay. Paperback or ebook?
Oh, ebook, so I can go everywhere I go.
Online or in store?
Online.
Okay. Facebook or Instagram?
Oh, definitely Facebook.
Wait,
No, I'm
Instagram.
old school. I'm old school.
So I thank you. I thank you so much for joining us on tonight. But before we even get off, please share with the audience how they can reach you.
Okay, so you can reach me like I am on Facebook. I was trying to put my number in the chat, but
You have a number
that
you want to
didn't
share?
work. That didn't work. I don't know why.
Send me. I could type it in really quick. What
Okay,
number
so
you want to put in?
my email is Dr.
Dr.
Poitier.
Listen, just give me an email they can contact you. Contact Dr.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Dr. Poitier at
Oh,
thedeliveranceCenter.com.
no,
It's not
wait.
that difficult.
Hold on.
Yeah, so it's Dr. period
Mm-hmm.
Poitier at
All
thedeliveranceCenter.com.
right. Poitier
Yeah.
at the deliverance.
Yeah, deliveranceCenter.com.
DeliveranceCenter.com. Okay.
And then my cell phone is 954.
You giving the people your number on the Facebook? What they could
Girl,
be.
I don't care because
Go ahead.
look, if I don't want to talk to you, I'll just block you. No, I'll just play it. No, I don't mind. I don't mind because I have to get out for work anyway, so it don't matter.
954
873
873
5158.
5158.
Yeah, girl, look, the next poet laureate might be on here. You don't know.
Absolutely.
We'll
Whatever.
never know who out there. So I'm like, please call me.
Right. So are you on Instagram?
I am. I'm Dr. _ Wordsmith 7. That's me.
Okay. So we'll put all of that because I have to get like all of what she said. Lots. But yeah, I wanted to make sure that you guys get on and you know who she is, you know what she's doing. She has some amazing books out here. She has some amazing things going on. Again, if you know of a young person ages 13 to 17 that is interested in writing or has been writing and has a book in store and you're trying to figure out, okay, my daughter, my son, my friend X, Y, Z, they have it, but they don't know which way to go. I want you to reach out to Dr. Sherrie Poitier. She is blessing a few young people to learn how to get their book published at no cost to you. It is a free program that she has going on. Dr. P, I thank you so much for joining me.
If they're outside their age range, tell them to just contact me. Let me see what I could do. Because I know some kids are still in school and they're 18.
What can you do?
Just give me a call. We'll talk about it.
But yeah, so again, I thank you guys for joining in tonight with the Books and Birthing with myself, Jabrina Speaks. I had the amazing guest, Dr. Sherrie Poitier, that shared her story of how she got her books done. This is Tips, Transparency, and Truth every Tuesday and Thursday night for this month. I am bringing my author friends on. I have some amazing women that are continuing to join me. Thursday night, we have Miss Ashley that will be joining me. She wrote a book. So 7:30, exactly 7:30 p.m. Thursday night, I'll be right back here with a new guest. But I thank Dr. P for coming in and joining us on tonight. I thank you so much. Make sure you go on Amazon and you order a book. Order a book. We want to make sure that we're not just supporting. Supporting and patronizing is two different things. Supporting is sharing this video. Patronizing is going to Amazon and purchasing one of her books. So we want to be patronizing
for everybody.
But we appreciate you sharing the video.
Yeah, Jabrina Speaks, thank you so much for this opportunity. I am so
absolutely.
grateful.
Absolutely. Listen, you know how I am. When God gives me vision, I have to make sure that I do what He has entrusted me to do. And this is the vision that He has given me to bring my author friends on to share their stories so people will know how we all went through the process of writing and publishing our book. My plan is to, and you're the first person I'm sharing it with on social media like this. My plan is to, in the end, bringing us all together and doing a book fair with all of us. So that is my plan, and I let it out tonight. I'm working on that, so you'll get more information because I want people to be able to come in and have a conversation with you face to face and be able to see your books in hand. So that those details will come later, but that
Okay.
is my plan to do something like that. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate each and every one of you on Facebook land and on YouTube for joining us tonight. Join us again this Thursday night at exactly 7:30 p.m. again with myself, Jabrina Speaks, and my author friends. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I love you. Enjoy the rest of your night. Mwah.